My name is Myra J. Larson. I'm 26, I work in digital marketing, and until 3 months ago, I thought I had finally found someone who actually saw me. His name was Isaac. We met at a coffee shop after he spilled half his latte on my laptop bag, apologized like the world had ended, and insisted on buying me another drink. That was 8 months ago. At first, Isaac felt like sunlight. He was handsome in that effortless way that made people turn their heads. Confident, charming, funny. The kind of man who could walk into a room and make everyone feel like the night had just started. I was quieter, more reserved. The type who preferred bookstores, small dinners, and conversations that lasted longer than a cocktail. We were different, but I thought we balanced each other. The first few months were beautiful. We cooked terrible meals in my tiny kitchen, watched old movies, wandered through galleries on Sundays, and stayed up late talking about childhood fears and future dreams. He introduced me to his roommate, Logan, who seemed friendly enough, but whenever I asked about meeting his other friends, Isaac always had a reason. They were busy. It was complicated. The timing was not right. He wanted to keep us just between us a little longer. I believed him because love makes excuses sound reasonable. Then came the party. It was Thursday evening. Isaac was on my couch scrolling through his phone when he said, "There's this thing Saturday, birthday party for one of my college friends. You can come if you want." I looked up from my laptop. "Yeah, I'd love to." He did not look at me when he said, "Cool. Just, if you're coming with me, make sure you leave early because I don't want my friends to know about you." The apartment went quiet. I waited for him to laugh. He did not. "What do you mean?" I asked. He shrugged. "It's easier. They ask questions. I don't want to deal with it right now. So if you come, just leave before things get crowded. No big deal." No big deal. As if he had not just told me I was something to hide. As if 8 months of my time, affection, patience, and loyalty could be folded up and tucked away before his friends noticed. I closed my laptop slowly. "No problem at all." He finally looked up. "You're not mad, are you?" "Not at all," I said. "I'll come to the party and I'll leave early, exactly like you asked." Saturday came. Isaac spent almost an hour getting ready in my bathroom, asking if his shirt looked good, if his hair was right, if the jacket was too much. I told him he looked perfect every time. We took an Uber to a sleek loft apartment where the rent probably cost more than my monthly salary. The moment we walked in, Isaac changed. His posture straightened, his smile sharpened. He became brighter, louder, more polished. He squeezed my arm and said, "I'll be right back," then vanished into the room. I stood in the kitchen with a beer I did not want, watching him hug people, laugh, pose for photos, and move through the crowd like he had come alone. An hour passed, then 2. He glanced at me sometimes, smiled quickly, then looked away before anyone could ask who I was. I was a ghost at my own boyfriend's party. At 10:30, I set my bottle down and left. No goodbye, no announcement. I just walked out and called an Uber. My phone stayed silent for 45 minutes. Then it started. "Isaac, where did you go?" "Isaac, did you leave?" "Isaac, hello?" I did not respond. At midnight, my apartment buzzer rang. I knew it was him before I checked. He stood downstairs with his arms crossed, looking annoyed, not worried. I made him wait a full minute before buzzing him in. When I opened the door, he stormed inside. "What the hell was that?" "You told me to leave early," I said calmly. "So I left early." "I meant later, not in the middle of the party. People saw you disappear. I thought you did not want people to know about me." His expression flickered. "That's not what I meant." "Then explain it." He sighed like I was exhausting him. I just wanted to enjoy the party without explaining our whole situation. What situation, Isaac? We have been together for 8 months. It's complicated. How? He looked away. My friends knew Vanessa. His ex-girlfriend. There it was. They would compare me to her, I said. That's not what I said. But it is what you meant. He did not deny it. I stepped back. I'm done being your secret. His eyes widened. Done? If you can't introduce me to your friends, if being seen with me is that embarrassing, then you should find someone who fits better into your life. I'm not embarrassed by you, he said, but his voice had no weight. Then why hide me? Silence. Finally, he grabbed his jacket. Maybe we should take a break. No, I said. We're done. He stared at me like I had slapped him. Then he walked out and slammed the door behind him. And for the first time in 8 months, the silence felt honest. The next week was quiet. Too quiet. No texts, no calls, no dramatic apology. Isaac disappeared from my life as quickly as he had disappeared from me at that party. I threw myself into work, stayed late, picked up extra projects, answered emails I normally would have ignored until morning. My friends noticed something was wrong, but I kept it simple. We broke up. That was all I could say without feeling the humiliation rise in my throat again. 2 weeks after the party, Logan texted me, Isaac's roommate. We had exchanged numbers months earlier when I needed the Wi-Fi password at their apartment. Hey, can we talk? It's about Isaac. I stared at the message for a long time. Me. What about him? He's been miserable, barely leaving his room. I'm not asking you to take him back, but there's something you should know. I almost did not want to know, but I replied. Me. Say it. His ex-girlfriend, Vanessa, really messed with his head. She made him feel like he always had to impress people, like his friends would judge him if he dated someone who didn't fit a certain image. I think that's why he acted the way he did with you. He was scared. I set the phone down and walked to the kitchen. I poured a glass of water and drank it slowly. Fear was an explanation. It was not an excuse. We all had wounds. We all had old ghosts whispering lies into our ears. But Isaac had taken his fear and handed it to me like it was my job to carry. He made me feel invisible so he could feel safe. Me. I appreciate you telling me, but he never explained any of that. He just made me feel like I wasn't enough. I know. You deserved better. I just thought you should understand. Me. Thanks, Logan. I thought that would be the end of it. 3 days later, I ran into Isaac at the grocery store. Of all places, he was standing in the produce section, staring at avocados like they might explain his life to him. I could have turned around. I could have gone to another aisle and avoided the whole scene. But I was tired of hiding from someone who had hidden me first. Hey, I said. He looked up, startled. For 1 second, his face broke open with something raw. Regret, maybe. Shame, definitely. Hey. We stood there with shopping baskets between us, like shields. How have you been? He asked. Fine. You? Not great. I nodded. He set down the avocado in his hand. I've been thinking about what you said, about how I treated you. Okay. You were right. I was hiding you. Not because you weren't good enough, because I was scared. I waited. My ex, Vanessa, made me feel like I had to maintain this perfect image. The right clothes, the right parties, the right people. After her, I kept hearing her voice in my head, telling me everyone was watching, judging, comparing. He swallowed hard. When I met you, you were everything she wasn't. kind, real, calm. You didn't perform for anyone. And instead of appreciating that, I panicked. I thought if my friends saw us together, they would think I had downgraded. Not because of you, because of the stupid standard she left in my head. The words hurt, even with the apology wrapped around them. That is a lot to unpack, Isaac. I know. I started therapy. Logan pushed me. He was right. That's good, I said. I'm glad you're getting help. His eyes lifted, hopeful. Do you think we could try again? I promise I'll do better. I'll introduce you to everyone. I'll fix it. I took a breath. I don't think so. His face fell. What you did hurt me more than you understand. I can understand why you acted that way and still refuse to go back to someone who treated me like a risk to his reputation. I deserve someone who is proud to stand beside me without needing therapy first to realize I matter. His eyes filled with tears, but he nodded. You do deserve that. I hope you figure things out, I said. I really do. Thank you, he whispered, for everything. I walked away first. And when I reached my car, I realized I did not feel happy. I did not feel victorious. I felt relieved. Cleanly, quietly relieved. Like I had been holding my breath for 8 months and finally remembered how to exhale. A month later, I went to a friend's barbecue and met Adrian. He was funny, sharp, and asked about my work like he actually cared about the answer. When his friends came over to grab drinks, he smiled and said, "This is Myra. We just met, but she's already more interesting than half the people here." His friends laughed and pulled me into the conversation without hesitation. No hiding. No excuses. No complicated situation. Just a simple introduction in the sunlight. I do not know if anything serious will happen with Adrian. Maybe we will go on a date. Maybe we will not. But standing there with a beer in my hand and warm light on my face, I realized something important. Being with someone who is not ashamed of you feels like breathing. Isaac texted me once more, about 2 months after the grocery store. I'm doing better. I hope you are too. I replied, I am. Take care of yourself. And that was it. No dramatic closure speech, no final fight. Just 2 people who had not been right for each other, moving forward in different directions. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away from someone who does not value you. Not out of revenge, not to punish them, but because self-respect is not something you should have to beg for. You cannot force someone to see your worth. You can only decide you will not stay where you are treated like a secret. He told me to leave early if I wanted to come. So I left, and I never looked back.